What is going on? How's it going, Periscope? It's that time of year when we get new Nexus phones, a whole lot of other new phones that I'm going to be showing you guys. But yeah, what's up? Hello. How's it going? Let's see if I can... I'm periscoping from the Note 5 right now, so it's a much wider angle. Hopefully it doesn't fall. Right in the middle of class? Nice. Okay, well, hopefully this is worth it. Anyway, yeah, so it's going to be a little overexposed. But yeah, we're going to talk new Nexuses for a little bit. I'll probably talk and try to answer questions for a couple minutes, but more of the point of this is to get a better idea of what you guys want to see in the Nexus reviews, which are probably a couple days down the road. Which one do you prefer? I prefer Nexus 6P. I prefer the larger phone. I prefer the metal body, but that's just me. 5X is so pointless? I disagree. I don't think the 5X is pointless at all. It's actually a really nice phone. Very light, very easy to hold, much smaller, and much less expensive. But yeah, so we got these phones like Friday. If you're a reviewer and they sent you one, it came in on Friday. So we've had it for a couple of days. I don't know how people who have reviewed it already. They use it for a weekend. Maybe that's all they need. But I'm going to be using these phones like full time. I put my SIM card in it on Friday. Used it for the weekend, which was mainly a traveling trip for me. So I took a bunch of pictures and used navigation a bunch. But yeah. So, what do you guys want to know about Nexus 5X, which is white, and Nexus 6P? Which one was that? That was the 5X. I'm going to turn the volume down. Better camera. They both have the exact same camera optics. So the same sensor, same 12-point-something megapixel sensor. Just a little more processing power will let this take 240 frames per second slow motion versus 120. The pictures themselves are pretty good. Not incredible, but it's very good. I mean, way better than any other previous Nexus. They tend to overexpose a little bit, in my opinion. I took some night shots, and I could try to show you on Periscope, but it's probably not going to be... I'll just describe them, basically. But, like, I took this shot at night. Very, very dark, but it, like, blew everything up to be a lot brighter. Again, this one, too, just, like, lit by a street light. It looks pretty good, but it's not quite as accurate as some. So, I'd say it's a little bit overexposed for a bunch of stuff, but if you get that tap to expose right... it's very comfortable with bumping up the ISO a whole lot and just using the processing to remove any noise. Note 5 camera is the same as the Note 4? I don't think so, no. Okay, use for navigation. How's the GPS? GPS was great. No problem getting GPS lock. That was fine. It used a lot of battery, as it usually does in any phone, but then I plugged in USB Type-C, as we know, and fast charging to the rescue. I've been a fan of fast charging. I like it, even though there's no wireless charging. Camera bump. The camera bump. Okay, so pretty much almost every phone nowadays, I might even do a video about this, has some sort of camera bump. There's the Nexus 5X camera bump. And it's enough to make it wobble when you try to type when it's on a table. But here's the Nexus 6P camera bump, and it spans the entire back. So it does actually lie flat, and you can type without it wobbling. So that's cool. What about Marshmallow? How well does it run? Very, very smooth. Android 6.0 is super smooth on these phones through scrolling and through regular performance and multitasking and everything. Really, really smooth. I'll try my best to convey that on video, but they are very quick, snappy, fast, smooth phones. 5X display. 5X display is a 1080p LCD. And you have a Quad HD OLED panel here, which is... It's not the best Quad HD OLED panel. I'm still going to give that to the Note 5, but it's a really nice screen here on Nexus 6P. Better than Moto X? Better than Moto X in some ways. I'd say in performance it's a little better than Moto X. In battery life, seems to be a little bit better. In the camera, sort of a toss-up right now. It's still early for me to say, but you might like some parts of the Moto X as well. Is the 6P noticeably faster than the 5X? Not really. And I guess I need to test more like heavy-duty stuff like web browsing and gaming, but so far not really. Contenders for best 2015 smartphone. This is definitely one of them. Here's another contender right here. no camera hump or bump at all. This is the Sony Xperia Z5. I want to get my hands on the Z5 Premium as well. There's a whole bunch of really nice smartphones in the top tier right now that would compete for best. That video. We'll probably have the smartphone awards again mid-December. How does it... Oh, that went too fast, sorry. 5X versus OnePlus 2? That's a good question. So 5X, I really like the feel of the 5X in the hand. I think that's one of the best things it has going for it. The soft touch back, at least on the white, the square sides, USB Type-C. A lot of these things are the same on the OnePlus 2, but the OnePlus 2 is definitely a lot heavier than this phone. So this is a really nice, lightweight, pocketable phone that a lot of people will like. It's very reminiscent of your previous OnePlus, or your previous Nexus. Throttling issues with the 6P? Nope, I've had no heat or throttling issues with any Snapdragon 810 phone ever. How do you feel about HTC? Sort of unrelated, but I like them. What are your thoughts about not having wireless charging? It is kind of unfortunate. I would have liked to have seen it, but my favorite is fast charging. So if there's any charging solution that I really want phones to have, it's first of all have a big battery, but second of all, fast charging is what I prefer. I do have a wireless charger on my desk. I do use that with phones that are compatible, but it's just a thing that didn't fit. I'm really impressed that this phone fit a 3,450 milliamp hour battery in such a thin phone. In fact, let me look up what was the size of the Nexus 6 battery. Nexus 6 battery size. Because this phone is a lot thinner than the Nexus 6, and it has a larger battery than the Nexus 6, which was a 3,200 milliamp hour battery. So 3,450 in a very thin phone, but not just thin, because anyone can do thin, but thin and still easy to hold with the square sides. What are your thoughts on the Nexus 5X speakers? It's not dual. I really do prefer the stereo front-facing speakers, obviously, but having them face you in the front is still way better than anything else. What's the screen on time? Let me look at my previous usage, because I haven't had like a full... like I said, I was doing a lot of GPS navigation, so I was plugged in the whole time. But as you can see here, I gotta mention, Doze, which gave a lot of extra battery to my Nexus 6, is great for these phones. The battery lives have been pretty great in standby specifically. I want to show you something. I had this phone, when I went out with this phone with my SIM card in it, I left this one here at the apartment, right? My Nexus 5X, I just charged it up to 100% and then left it for the weekend. Now, what do you normally think an Android phone would end up after a full weekend of just sitting on a desk and collecting notifications? It'll probably be at like 25%, 50%, depends on the phone, depends on how old it is. This phone was at 77%, and it said 9 days left of standby time after a weekend and an extra half day of being just sitting there collecting notifications. So 77%. So it lost 23% over about 60 hours, about 50 hours. Doze is great. So you might not see that extreme of a difference on a phone like this, but when it's sitting on a table or sitting in your pocket and it knows it's dozing, you can forget to charge this phone and you won't lose much charge. You can leave it on your stand with 90% and wake up with 89%. It's really good. Doze is great for battery. The actual screen on time probably isn't going to be that much better because it's a really high resolution, really bright screen. So the screen on time is still the same. Battery life is not that much better. But standby time, if you use your phone on and off in increments, standby time is what's going to be improved. What else? Thoughts on the fingerprint sensors? It's good. It's fast. I tweeted earlier today, fingerprint sensors have gotten really fast. Now, it's hard for me to demo it because it's on the back of the phone. If I had a mirror, I could show you this, but see how it's off right now? I'm going to put the finger on and then flip it over. So it's pretty quick. It's not as fast as the iPhone 6S, but it's very, very fast, and that's pretty good. And I don't mind the spot on the back of the phone. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty quick. I wouldn't say it's, yeah. And the Nexus, or sorry, the iPhone 6S has probably the fastest I've ever used, next to, what was that Huawei phone that had a silly fast, the Huawei Mate S? Oh, here's another thing I haven't mentioned yet. This first-party case, I'm not a big case guy, as you can tell, but you can see like the indent for the camera hump and this sort of soft texture material. This is one of the first party cases for Nexus 6P. It fits, it works, it's a little bulky, it makes the buttons a little mushier, but if you want to protect it, this is what it looks like. Headphone jack on the top, USB-C. Meh, it's alright. Here's another one made by Spec that I haven't even taken out the box, but it looks very similar to, well, your candy shell for... Actually, this is for the 5X. It's called the Candy Shell Grip. That's the case for the 5X. It's got a little glossiness to it, a little grippy action. But I'm not a case guy, so there's that. Yes, waiting on D-brand skins, waiting on what I think will be a pretty sexy way to sort of skin the entire part, except for the top, to have RFID and all those other antennas going through the top glass part. But then the whole skin would cover the rest. It would probably leave a cutout for the X maybe, and obviously a cutout for the fingerprint scanner. I think this is going to look hot in a skin. Should you trade your LG G3 for a 5X? I would say yeah, that's a good trade. 5X brand new, stock Android, quick updates. I'd say that's a good trade. 5X 60 frames per second 1080p video. Let me check. Open up the camera. Go into settings. And resolution and quality. And you do have 1080p back camera. You have 4K as well. I guess it's just 30 frames. Can't change it. 30 frames for 1080. No, I don't have a case. And these phones are both fine to hold without a case, so that's cool. What else? When is Android 6.0 coming out? Depends on your phone. Android 6.0 is out for Nexuses. It's out for Nexus tablets and Nexus phones. Next up is probably going to be some Motorola stuff, some HTC stuff, and then probably some other phones that are a little closer to stock Android before the rest of you guys get it. So it depends on your phone. Yeah, that wallpaper, I guess the classic Justin Maller Ghosts 2 facet. It looks good on any phone. I've used it a lot. Galaxy S6 Marshmallow? Yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen. Have you heard when the 6P will start shipping? I think mine is supposed to ship. My retail one was, I got 128 gig in charcoal. It's supposed to ship like the first week of November. Is the fingerprint scanning snappy? Yes, it is. Price, price, price. Yeah, the prices are good in the United States. Obviously, if you live overseas, there's different prices and there's different shipping. But for what I'm saying in the United States, these phones are both worth their price for sure. Have you used Android Pay? I haven't yet. So the NFC chip in these phones is right around the top, right near the camera module. Have not used Android Pay yet though, and I gotta try that. Have you ever been to Googleplex? I have been to it one time, yes. Yeah, exactly. It's a little more expensive depending on where you live. Is the 6P a good upgrade from the OnePlus One? From the OnePlus One, yeah. The OnePlus One was a really unique phone in a lot of ways. It had that killer battery life, and a lot of other things were really good about it. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you're still, cool with near stock Android and the snappy, quick, pure Android sort of feel, it's going to be a pretty similar experience. So you might not find that worth the upgrade, but consider the updated internals that make this phone so fast. When will 8K come to phones? Dang, I don't see 8K in many dedicated cameras, so I don't know if we should expect 8K anytime soon. But it's nice to see 4K in the phones that can support it. Favorite smartwatch? I'm going to give that a toss-up between Huawei Watch and Moto 360, with a close second being Apple Watch, but that's because I'm more of a hardware person, and a lot of the software is similar between them. 6P RAM, there is 3 gigs of RAM on the Nexus 6P, and 2 gigs of RAM in the Nexus 5X. Separate camera video, it's probably all going to be one full thing for each phone. Full review for each phone. What else do you guys want to know? What do you guys want to see in the full review of these phones? I know we've talked about the fact that the camera and the battery life are important for what you want to see when you're buying a smartphone, the sort of long-term stuff you want to test and trust is good. But what other thing do you want to know about? I guess fingerprint reader is another thing I have to talk about. What else do you want to see in the review? Expandable memory, there is no expandable memory in a Nexus. Hasn't really been in a little while. Software, Longer videos. Snapchat quality. Okay, interesting. I would like to see the front-facing speakers. Yeah, I can tell you right now, I love the front-facing speakers on this phone, the 6P stereo. Are they compatible with water? I guess you mean water-resistant. Okay. The DAC. Interesting one, because the DAC on this phone happens to be really good. Sound quality, battery, wake by double tap. So there is no wake by double tap, but if you look at the phone with ambient display on, then you can sort of just one touch and turn it on. And also, while it's on, you can double tap power button to open the camera. That's something I didn't even know was a shortcut. It's not anywhere in the phone's instructions. So while you're out of standby, double tap, and it vibrates, and it quickly opens the camera. So that's quick. How to fast charge? You just need to use the included USB-C charger, and that's it. Heating issues? There pretty much are none. More on-point acting? I will probably have some of that, sure. Geekbench score for the 6P? I don't even think I've installed Geekbench. But I will do that when I get the chance, okay? Touch ID, so it's not called Touch ID, it's called Nexus Imprint for the fingerprint sensors here. Alright. Yeah, no, there is no double twist for the camera. That does not work, that's a Motorola thing. This is an LG phone, it does the same, so when I am here, double tap, opens the camera. When I'm here, double tap double tap the power button to open the camera. And it's fast. But there's no other shortcut. The weights, okay. The weight of the 6P. I can tell you the 6P is a little heavier, obviously, since it's metal. But this 5X is a light phone. Very lightweight. Look at how overexposed this Note 5 is. There you go. It's a lightweight phone. No micro SD card expansion on either of these. It's a Nexus. Alright, how's Marshmallow? 2 thumbs up for Marshmallow so far. Very smooth, very snappy. Alright, I'm going to head out of here. I have some other stuff to take care of today, and some other videos to work on, which is, like what I said, this is going to be a crispy week. But yeah, so I'm going to go do that. Thanks for tuning into this Periscope. Hello, Amsterdam, and everyone else who has said hi and attended, and the hearts. I appreciate that. Yeah, this has been real. I'm going to go make some more stuff. I'm gonna go make some more stuff.